Final update. My dad found out how much I make, so he showed up with my sister and demanded I give her my 5-bedroom house because she's pregnant. He threw out all my stuff, saying, "You can buy another," but as he was expecting blowback from me, I told him, "The daughter you're fighting for isn't even yours." Hey y'all, this is probably going to be the last update. So, my dad told me that Marissa sparked a flame in him that he never knew he had. He was so happy with her, and before he knew it, he caught feelings. Before he could navigate his way through right and wrong, he got Marissa pregnant, too. Oh boy, this man. Well, and then he just simply told Marissa it was wrong, but it's too late. She's pregnant. He told her to wait, and he wanted to tell Mom first, but Marissa felt insecure and came to our house. She told Mom everything, so Mom confronts Dad, and he accepted his fate. It was a very ugly episode because Mom was hurt, but even then, she was polite and asked Dad for a divorce. Y'all, my parents divorced because my dad had an affair with my stepmom and got her pregnant. I don't know how worse a man could get. Dad took a pause and looked over at me, and he said that he'd spent a nice year with Marissa when Mom passed and he had to bring me home. Marissa hated everything about it. She was insecure that Dad might be prioritizing me over their baby somehow, because of guilt or whatever. So he sent me away to boarding school for 3 years, just like that. And then I never had to stay home long enough to cause Marissa any discomfort. Love makes you do stupid things, he said, and I wanted to punch this man in the face, but I did control it. I turned around to see Marissa standing in the doorway, water bottle in hand. She said she was just leaving for yoga class, and she put her bottle on the table and went to the kitchen. I blinked, and before I could think straight, she was back and went through the door. I was numb, so I followed her out. I picked up her water bottle to return it to her, and when I got out there, she already had gotten into her car and driven off. I needed to drive to clear my mind anyway, so I quietly sat in my car and drove following her. She parked outside the yoga club and got out. She looked around, just to see who was walking by, and then she dipped off into an alleyway. I frowned as I slowly edged my car to get a better view. She looked around herself and got into another vehicle. She hugged and kissed the driver, and they drove off. I could hardly blink. I clenched my jaw and parked my car, and I got out to went inside the yoga club. I asked them about Marissa checking in, and they denied giving me personal info. I said I was worried about her and insisted I was at least told if she was there. They told me they have no client with that name, so I got back into my car and waited. And I don't know what came over me, but when the other car rolled in, I started making a video. A man gets out, opens up her door, hugs her, and kisses her, then slaps her butt as she joyously makes her way to the parking lot. So much for yoga, Marissa. Well, before she could get to the parking lot, I left. So my dad cheated on my mom, and he's getting cheated on now. Karma, karma. Dad called me a few times, but I didn't answer. I'm going to see what happens because all I want to do now is go and ask Marissa about it all. Should I? Small update, I know it's a week late, and y'all expected it to be sooner, but so much has happened. First, I actually managed to get a man and go confront Marissa. I went with Dad when he wasn't home, and Ash was asleep. I asked her if she had yoga class that day, and she said that she has it every day, even on Sundays. She was in the kitchen cooking pasta. I asked her who her yoga instructor was, and she took a random name. I asked her if it was a dude, and she said, why would I take a boy? I said, it's funny that she had a female one when the club that she went to did not have any female instructor. She told me, I'm mistaken, but her voice was caught off guard, and her hands weren't stirring the pasta sauce. I told her, I joined the club yesterday, and that's what they told me. She asked me, how did you know where the club was? And I told her, I followed her last time that she came to visit. And she dropped a spoon. I picked it up, and she turned around and said, where are you getting at? I knew she suspected I knew it. She denied it, as expected. So whatever. I said, I saw it with my own eyes. She shrugged and told me, Dad would never believe me. And I pulled out my phone and played the video and told her, that he would believe his own eyes. I bet she stood there in shock and was speechless for a minute, and then her expression calmed down, and she continued to cook the pasta. She said, it didn't matter. She was already planning a divorce anyways. And my eyes widened. This woman was vile. Granted, my dad deserved all of it, but man, she is a snake. So she told me that the guy she goes to meet at the club is her lover of 3 years. They rekindled their romance when it was safe too, and she said that they fell in love a long time ago, but at that time, he was married to another woman whose father had hired him in his company, and a lot was at stake. But Marissa had her lover. They decided that he chose to keep his marriage and settle his finances, then he would divorce his wife and get with Marissa in the future. But Marissa gets pregnant, so then she was desperate to pin a guy down for support. And as women should, that's what she said. Okay, don't attack me. That's how she decides to keep Dad. They were seeing each other off and on, but then Marissa met her lover and got pregnant. She chose Dad and told him that he had to do something about it. Said that he got cold feet, so she had to take it in on her own hands, and that's when she spoke to Mom. Now, her lover is a widower and owns a company, and she's good to go. She said in quotes, women need to do what they can, kid. And turned around with a smile, but her face froze as she looked over my shoulder. Her smile was gone in the next moment because I turned around to find Dad in the doorway. First, balding his eyes out, but he was shaking. Well, then Dad woke Ash up and brought her to the kitchen. He asked her who her father was. She looked over at Marissa and shook her head. She told him she did not care about blood because she always knew him to be her dad. He ran his finger through her hair and paced the floor. And over the next 2 days, Marissa and Ash were told to leave. The divorce is in the process, and Ash and Marissa are staying at a shelter. Dad has asked me to find him a therapist, and he's apologized a lot since then. I forgive him every time, but as with Marissa, her lover did not take her in. He denies having any contact with her, and I have the proof. And Marissa was begging me for it. She asked even to think of Ash as her pregnancy. What can I say? Marissa, your kid, your problem. What should I do? Delete the video or hand it over? I'm going to update in the comments sometime later anyways. Thanks for being with me for the suggestions and support. It means a lot. Thank you. I mean, what a combo, Ash and Marissa. Next level stuff. I mean, they only care about money and using men to take advantage, so they can get their points, but everything comes crashing down. And unfortunately, Op's father was the one who was on the receiving end, even though we all know he has his ups and downs too with the cheating on Opie's mother. Anyways, this story was all sorts of a disaster, all sorts of a mess. But I think the only good thing that we can see that came out of this is an apology did come to Op from Op's father after everything they found out. Anyways, I just want to know what you thought about it, what you would have done differently if you were in Op's position, or maybe you think Op handled it flawlessly. Drop it in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think about Op, Marissa going out to yoga class, and all other things that happen in today's story. My name's Mr. Reddito. Thank you for joining me. I hope to see you tomorrow, and of course, remember, it's cool to be kind.